Let's transition. Let's go to Dallas as the Dallas Cowboys beat the New York Jets 30-10 yesterday in Dallas for the Jets. Zach Wilson struggled. What else is new? He went 12 of 27, threw for 170 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Dak Prescott played efficient, 31 of 38, 255 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb had a nice game, 11 receptions, 143 passing yards. So, after the game, Breece Hall had some comments on his usage versus the Cowboys. This is Breece Hall, the Jets running back. Says, quote, I only got 4 touches. That's why we struggled. It is what it is. We just got down early today and just abandoned the run. That type of stuff happens. You feel like you have to get back in the game and it just slips away. That was Breece Hall after the Jets lost to the Cowboys. So I get on Twitter this morning and I'm looking at Jets fans and they were talking about the 20-point loss to the Cowboys yesterday. Obviously, I listened to Breece Hall's post-game interview, and I watched Get Up this morning. And obviously on Get Up, you got Greeny, Damian Woody, Rex Ryan, that big-time Jets fans. Obviously, Rex Ryan, he coached in New York. Damian Woody, he played for the Patriots. I think he played for the Jets as well, but he's a Jets fan. And Greeny's a diehard Jets fan. I'm listening to them talk about this game yesterday, and one of the things that they talked about was how Robert Saleh and the Jets coaching staff, like Nathaniel Hackett, that's their offensive coordinator, they didn't run the ball enough. And I agree with that assessment. That's one of my biggest takeaways from this game, because in this game, Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook only had 8 rushing attempts. Now, remember, in week 1, Breece Hall, fresh off a season-ending injury last year, in his first game back, Breece Hall had 10 carries for 127 rushing yards last week in the game against the Buffalo Bills. So, I agree with Damian Woody, Rex Ryan, and Greeny's assessment on the Jets-Cowboys game yesterday and saying how Robert Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett dropped the ball because they didn't run the ball enough. I agree with that 1,000%, that they should have ran the ball more with Breece Hall and with Dalvin Cook. But what Greeny, Damian Woody, and Rex Ryan and all Jets fans across the world have to realize is, no matter the formula and no matter how successful you are at being able to run the football, the New York Jets season was officially over 4 snaps into the season when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. This was a team that during the offseason, once they acquired Aaron Rodgers, that talked about how they were Super Bowl contenders, and us in the media and fans also mentioned the Jets in conversations as being a contender in the AFC. But once Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles Monday night, 4 snaps into the season, the New York Jets Super Bowl aspirations were officially over. Not only were their Super Bowl aspirations over, their playoff aspirations were over as well. And the reason why the Jets' playoff aspirations are over is because Zach Wilson is their quarterback at the moment. In 2021, Zach Wilson was ranked dead last in completion percentage and passer rating. In 2022, Zach Wilson was ranked dead last in completion percentage and passer rating. People, Jets fans, he's not very good. He cannot game manage for you and you be able to run the football and play great defense and get to the playoffs. He cannot do it. Jets fans, I'm sorry, but it's over. The season is over. You see Breece Hall in the post-game press conference talking about how he deserved more carries, and I agree with Breece Hall. I agree with all the Jets fans who feel like they should have ran the ball more yesterday. But guess what? It doesn't matter what the Jets do running the football because they cannot depend on Zach Wilson to play quarterback at an average level for them to be able to get to the playoffs. Not to mention he's already playing behind a below-average offensive line. Mekhi Beckman and Dwayne Brown, they had no answers for Micah Parsons yesterday. Micah Parsons was a man on a mission yesterday. Man looked like the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. They had no answers for him yesterday. You would think the Jets would have tried to double Micah Parsons. They didn't do it. For whatever reason, they did not double Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was the best player on the field in the Week 2 matchup between the Jets and the Cowboys. But all this talk about how Robert Saleh and Nathaniel Hackett had a terrible game plan going into this game, even though I agree that they should have ran the ball more, it won't matter because Zach Wilson is their quarterback. Now, if you go out and make a trade for Kirk Cousins, then the Jets become playoff contenders. Because everyone's talking about maybe the Jets should sign Carson Wentz. Even with Carson Wentz, I don't see this Jets team being a playoff team. If they get Carson Wentz, they could possibly go 7-10. But what's the purpose in bringing in Carson Wentz if you're going to have an identical record this year like you had last year? The purpose of bringing someone else in is so you can have a better record. If you bring in Kirk Cousins and you add Kirk Cousins to this Jets football team, a team that has Garrett Wilson at receiver, Allen Lazard, Nicole Hartman, and then in the backfield you got Breece Hall, you got Dalvin Cook. I believe that would make the Jets a playoff team, possibly, if you add Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is on the last year of his current deal, so maybe the Jets take a chance on Kirk Cousins. I'm not someone that believes Kirk Cousins is elite, but I do believe that Kirk Cousins is good, and I believe Kirk Cousins can be good enough with that elite defense to where they can be playoff contenders. But there's no way in hell the Jets are going to be competing for a playoff spot in the AFC with Zach Wilson as their quarterback. It's just not going to happen. You look at, and again, the AFC is so strong this year. In the AFC East alone, you got Tua in the Miami Dolphins. You got Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills. In the AFC South, Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. In the AFC West, you still got Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I expect Justin Herbert and the Chargers at some point to fire Brandon Staley, and maybe they can get back into the playoff conversation. And in the AFC North, you got Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens leading that division. So the Jets are not going to be playoff contenders, A, because Zach Wilson is their current quarterback, and B, the AFC is too strong of a conference. It's the conference is too strong. The competition is stiff in the AFC. But I don't even think the Jets will be a playoff contender in the NFC because Zach Wilson is their quarterback. So those are my thoughts on the Jets. The Cowboys, first 2 games of the season, they look good. They really, really look good. Dak Prescott is efficient. Mike McCarthy and his play calling has been outstanding. Yesterday, the Cowboys had, I believe, 44 rushing attempts. So they ran the football a lot yesterday with Tony Pollard and Vaughn. So give the Cowboys some credit. Give Mike McCarthy some credit because in the past, we've never seen Mike McCarthy run the football as much as he had yesterday. Yesterday, he ran the football a lot. In the past, he's never done that. So give Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys coaching staff credit. That defense looked like they're the best defense in the NFL. Trayvon Diggs in the secondary, Stephon Gilmore as well. Offensively, you still got CeeDee Lamb. They didn't even have Brandon Cooks in this game, and they still put up 30 points and had over 350 total yards of offense. So give the Cowboys credit. They're playing well in these first two games. But you got to give them credit, but you also got to be careful because they beat the Giants and the Jets, the two New York teams who I don't believe in for two different reasons. I don't believe in the Jets because they don't have competent quarterback play, and I don't believe in the Giants because, well, it's kind of similar to the Jets. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. And I don't even like the Giants skill position players. I know they came back yesterday and beat the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are tanking for Caleb Williams. They're trying to lose games. Give me a break. I'm not going to give the Giants credit for overcoming a 28-point deficit and beating the Arizona Cardinals. So I don't believe in neither of the New York teams. So those are the two teams that the Cowboys have beaten, the Giants and the Jets. But neither of those teams are playoff teams in my eyes. So I give the Cowboys credit, but not so much. But those are my thoughts on the Jets-Cowboys Week 2 matchup in Dallas.